Hey, Ray Martin here for Church of the Ascension Family Life. You know, we all have that mom that shows up in our Instagram feed where she's showing off a cake that she's made that's got these intricately cut out fondant dinosaurs or palm trees, or maybe it's a Barbie dream castle. And we think to ourselves, wow, that mom has it all together. But the good news is, you don't have to be a cake boss to have celebrity status at home, because parents truly are superheroes to their kids. If you missed our last episode, we were talking about micro-churches and how our homes are the domestic church where our identities about a lot of things in our culture are formed, including our faith. I'll include a link below if you'd like to go back and watch that. But this week we're diving deeper into that national study of youth and religion that I mentioned, specifically more of their overall findings. The first important thing to note is that parents were found to be the most influential pastors of their children, more than priests, youth ministers, youth faith formation teachers, etc. Parents define the role that faith ought to play in life, and they set this glass ceiling of religious commitment which children rarely rise above. So all other formation only matters if it's important to mom and dad. But we as parents don't realize the incredible power of influence that we have. Why? Because cultural scripts tell us the opposite. We hear all the time that teenagers never talk to their parents, or that kids are only going to learn about things like sex from school or friends. That's just not true when it comes to religion. If parents model that faith is important, then their kids end up staying involved. Here's some sobering facts about the current transmission of faith among youth in the United States. And overall, Catholics, Jewish, mainline Protestants are all less likely 10 years from now to be more religious or to have grown in their faith. But the National Study of Youth and Religion found that among their study, 29% of youth ended up staying plugged into their religion. 25% showed a shallow decline. 13% had a steep decline and were just not very involved anymore. And 25% never were religious in the home and probably won't ever be. At first glance, this can sound kind of grim, but if you look at the homes that were successful in having their kids continue to be active in the religion, the secret ingredient was that parents showed that faith is important and they were involved. And that indirectly gave them the opportunity to talk about religion at home. No other influence comes close to matching the influence of parents on religious faith practices of youth. So recently, one of my kids was with me after a 5 o'clock mass, and there was a visitation going on in the gathering space as we were leaving. And we were walking through the crowd, and he noticed on a display table that there were some photos of the person who had passed away. There was an old Coca-Cola can and a baseball cap from the person's favorite team and a small metal train. So my son asked me why there was a train on the table, and I was explaining to him that the man who had died must have been into trains, and that, you know, family tends to bring things like that for people to remember because it symbolized something that he liked. And so as we were walking out to the car, I asked my son, I said, if this were my funeral, you know, what kind of things would you want to set out on a table to remember about me? And immediately the first thing that came out of his mouth was Coke Zero. Okay, so I like to drink bourbon or rum in Coke Zero, and apparently I drink a little too much of that around the house. So I was like, okay, great. Anything else? And, you know, he thought about it for a while, and he said, a camera. Great, I like to take pictures. And he says, and your phone. You're always on your phone. So I was hoping for like a guitar, since I like to lead worship, or I don't know, maybe a rosary, a crucifix, a picture of Jesus, something religious. But no, I got drinking, taking pictures, and ignoring my children by being on my phone. That's apparently what I'm known for. So the thing is that we don't even realize that our kids are watching. You know, they're observing, they're forming their identity off the things that we think are valuable. So if we want our children to grow up believing that being a devoted disciple of Jesus as a Catholic is meaningful and even necessary to living a life of joy and fulfillment, then we have to show them that by genuinely witnessing that in our own daily life and then talking to them about it. That is our superpower. That's a tremendous call that we have as stewards of God's children that He's entrusted us. The key question that children answer when they're forming their personal identity is, does this matter to my parents? So we have to show them the value of our religion by our participation in the life of the church. We have to talk to them about it. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to be theology experts, because faith isn't about that. It's about being a witness and following the will of God for our life. We can begin to work together on how we can make a difference and start to change the statistics of children who remain Catholic. All we need to do is just plug into the parish. There are so many phenomenal programs going on around the clock here at the parish that you can get involved in. And I see families who are just amazing that are already doing this. I mean, there are some amazing families here who are involved and they're talking to kids about it. And I know that there could be more. I hope you'll stick around with me next time, where we're going to unpack what successful Catholic households look like and offer some really simple and practical ways in which you can be more intentional in forming the faith life of your microchurch at home. We'll see you then.